think I'm coming up. Okay, hope everybody's doing well today. Hey, hello, leaders. Hey, this is Paul Grau Jr., and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. So today I'm continuing with the 11th chapter of John Maxwell's new book, High Road Leadership: How to Bring People Together in a World That Divides. Now, the name of this chapter is called Don't Keep Score. And this was a really eye-opening chapter for me, because this is some things that I have to realize and I have to work on, because John lays out why leaders should never keep score and 6 ways that scorekeeping can hurt people, and 3 pieces of advice on how not to keep score. So this whole idea about keeping score is basically just, we almost have a natural tendency as human beings. We do something for somebody, we almost have that natural, desire or natural feeling like they're going to do something back for us, right? Or for us. We do something for them, they do something for us. And a lot of people like to keep that balance. Well, in essence, when we're doing that, we're keeping score. And John shares an interesting story in this chapter. He was when he was a young pastor making very little money, and it's one of the people from the congregation invited him out to dinner, him and his wife, Margaret. And they went out to dinner, and the guy's like, as soon as I get to the restaurant, the guy's like, "John, order anything you want, man. It's on me." So he did, and he said this became almost a weekly routine. And then a couple of years into it, I guess he got an offer to go to a bigger church, and I mean, he started out in this really tiny church making very little money, and he got a chance to go in a bigger church. So he took it. And when he announced it to his congregation, this one guy that had been taking him out for dinner all these weeks and years, I guess, came to him and said, "After all I've done for you, you're leaving." And John said he felt really guilty. He felt really bad, but he just thought the guy was doing it as goodness of his heart. I mean, because John has never kept score. And he's like, that was new to me, And he said from that day, he's never allowed anybody to buy him dinner or lunch or whatever, because he said he goes out, he pays for his own. And if he can't afford it, he doesn't go out. So I doubt if he can't afford it now. But, the point is this whole keeping score, it does something else. And we kind of, over time, when we continually give without getting anything in return, we almost feel slighted. We almost feel like we're getting screwed over, or we're being taken advantage of. Maybe my D behavioral style is like, man, somebody's taking advantage of me. But that's not what giving things to other people is about. When you're a leader and you're giving things to people or doing things for people, it's just out of the goodness of your heart. You shouldn't ever expect anything in return. You shouldn't be keeping score and say, "Hey, I did this, this, and this for you, so now you got to do this, this, and this." John said that's not what it's about. So he said, basically, we should give without expecting to take or get anything. Scorekeeping, he said, breeds entitlement. This was another part of one of these sections. And if you think about that, scorekeeping breeds entitlement, because if you give something to somebody and you're keeping score, and then you give them something else and something else, you're thinking to yourself, I'm 3 up on this person. They owe me 3 things. Well, then you feel entitled that like that person needs to give you something. And that's not the case, because we should be giving for the sake of giving. And, if it's a favor or if you do something with that agreement up front, that's totally different. But excuse me, big yawn there. Sorry. So if you give something, you shouldn't be expecting anything in return. I remember somebody a long time ago, I heard this story about Somebody said he loaned this guy $50 or something, and he never saw him again. And somebody said, "Oh, I'm really sorry." He's like, "No, it's probably the best $50 I've ever spent in my life." You know, you know, because he didn't expect to get it back when he loaned it, but he's like, I guess the guy was a real pain, and he's like, "Hey, the guy can get out of here and I'll never have to deal with him again. It cost me $50. That was a good deal." But, you know, I I've done this. I've done all this. I've given and given and given and helped and helped and helped, figuring, okay, sooner or later I'm going to need something, and I'm going to need somebody. I'm going to ask for help, and I'll be able to get it. But you should just give out of the goodness of your heart. And leaders need to be cautious about what signals they're sending, because if we're giving and giving and giving and saying, "Hey, you owe me, that's two, that's three," other people are going to think that's the way they should do it too. And again, this is all about helping each other out. Um, I see this all the time, and I see the negative impact that it has on others when leaders set that wrong example or that bad example. At the end of this chapter, John says the path for not keeping score. Man, this thing is bumping all over. The path for not keeping score is all about grace. And grace is one of those things, if you look it up, you'll find anything from favor to goodwill, to mercy, a pardon, clemency, forgiveness. That's basically all of the different things that you get if you look up grace. And grace is one of those things that we expect. When we screw up, we expect other people to give us grace, right? Well, a lot of times we don't get it, but we expect it. But then if somebody else screws up, we're not so quick on giving them grace right away, because it's almost like we want to hold something against them. Now, nobody's perfect, and we need to give other people grace. But I think grace starts with yourself. You need to give yourself grace. You need to forgive yourself. You need to give yourself a pardon for whatever you did wrong, because nobody's perfect. So start with yourself. Give yourself some grace. And I think over time, you'll easily be able to give other people grace. And that when you start that, you're not going to want to keep score. You're not going to have to keep score. So when you don't keep score and you give people grace and you forgive people, man, if you know what I meant, if you've forgiven somebody that's done something really bad to you in the past and you've forgiven them, that is such a feeling of freeness. Forgiving isn't necessarily about the other person. When you forgive somebody, you let go of that thing that you've been holding on to, and you truly just forgive them and you let it go. And that's what's freeing about forgiving. And having grace on somebody and giving somebody grace is the same principle here. So, be the example that you want others to be. Don't keep score, give people grace. Hey, that's it for today. Come on back tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to talk about having the desire the best for others. High road leaders desire the best for others. So come on back tomorrow. We'll talk about that. Until then, run to your challenges. We'll see you. Man, that was a little bit rough, huh? So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I know I had a couple snafus right there in the middle, big yawns, and kind of lost my place in my notes here. Ooh, another big yawn. Don't yawn if you're looking at me. All right. I'll catch you tomorrow. Come on back tomorrow. We'll see you. And oh, by the way, these are recorded earlier in the week, and then I have them go out on the days that the podcast gets released. So we'll see you.